Welcome to UX Banter Season 7, where design leaders, innovators, and change makers share their stories, insights, and passion for human centered experiences. This season, we are exploring AI driven design, inclusive UX, enterprise strategy, and the evolving role of designers in a rapidly changing world. I'm your host, Dushyant Kanungo. This podcast is presented by Galaxy UX Studio and powered by Galaxy Weblinks, an Inc. 5000 company.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new season, season 7 of UX Banter. This season, we explore fresh design ideas, inspiring leadership journeys, and the exciting ways AI is elevating the future of UX. Our guest today brings a strong blend of UX strategy, problem solving, and people focused design leadership. With a background that spans marketing, customer insights, and user experience, she has built a career around understanding users deeply and translating the understanding into meaningful digital experiences. Her work reflects a commitment to clarity, collaboration, and creating products that serves real human needs. Please welcome Director of User Experience at Nebo, Tyler Gurian.
Hello, thank you for having me. Happy
And
to be
welcome.
here.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm doing great today.
So it must be already very cold in New York by this time, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's warmer today at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm going to Chicago this weekend and it's
Even
supposed to be
colder.
even colder and potentially even snowing on Saturday. So I'm anticipating my first snow of the of the winter. So buckling up.
All right. So, how was the journey like? Working at an agency in the city of New York and coming with different backgrounds and practices. How was the journey like and where it is going?
Absolutely. I'm happy to walk through the full journey because I think I have found so far in my career, I'm about almost 9 years into my career, and I have had, I think, a whirlwind of a career journey so far. Some may say atypical, but I think everything I've done up until this point and learned has really shaped where I'm at today and shaped me into the person I am today. So I'll bring us all the way back to my college years. So I entered college with a desire to have an architecture degree. And I remember at the time, the reason I bring it up is because I think the thinking I had at the time really eventually led me into where I am today. But I went into college really excited to become an architect eventually. And I feel like part of the reason that I wanted to become an architect was, this is what I told myself at the time. I liked math and I liked visual design and I loved like layouts and purpose within layout. And I got really excited about the potential to be able to do that for real humans and create real spaces for them. So, which hindsight's 2020, I think back to those years, I'm like, architecture in a way is like UX design, but in real life. It's like designing digital experiences or designing like physical spaces or physical experiences, and making sure the user or the person can like navigate through easily with also flair and whatnot. So was able, if anyone, if you know anything about architecture, know anyone that's gone through that career path, it's demanding. There's a lot that they ask of you.
Always mention this whenever I'm talking with any design professional and about their paths. I think there are only, other than being career designers, there are two sort of people that we meet who either coming in from a psychology background, because
Yep.
anybody who has studied psychology, anytime around they come to technology, they'll say we'll do UX. And the other, well, one third of the people will come from architecture. And it is a very fun way of saying that how these two professions are tightly aligned, because somebody
Yep.
told you that in architecture you get to see the outcome of what you designed at the after spending millions of dollars. And in UX, you generally get to see things quickly. But we follow the same fundamentals about what problems we are solving. Are there any new pathways to make the journey easier? maybe in a football stadium, how many things will be required. It's just the size of the scale of the matter that comes to play. But it has more flexibility in UX design than you would get in architecture. But anyways, architecture or being an architect is hard. Well, any profession is hard per se, but architecture is especially hard.
Yeah.
So coming back, you also did a lot of work with the other domains before switching to UX. Being coming in from the architecture background, you didn't directly jump into design. You went in the other direction of marketing and
Yep.
the digital side of it. How was the experience?
Yeah. So once after about a year of working in the architecture major, I pulled about 2 to 3 all-nighters a week in college. And, the work was fun. I liked doing it, but I didn't love it. And I felt like I needed to love it to stay in it. So that's what eventually moved me into the business school, where I ended up getting a marketing degree. Now, throughout my college experience, I still yearned to have that, design in some capacity, that design skill in some capacity in the work I was doing. So I did a few classes in graphic design, but eventually found uh like a minor in web design.
Mhm.
Where at the time, which is funny enough, at the time, this was back in 2016, I web design, the classes that you took, Figma wasn't really that big yet.
Yeah.
InVision was there, but like no one was really teaching it. Maybe Sketch probably existed too, but I learned web design in Adobe products. So, and XD didn't even exist at that point yet too, or
Yeah.
maybe it did, but it wasn't big. So I created my first website in Adobe InDesign.
Mhm.
Learned Photoshop and Illustrator, and eventually learned HTML and CSS to code a very simple website for myself. So that was kind of my first introduction to web design and UX as a concept. When I graduated college, I ended up just taking the marketing route. And I spent about 5 years in both a channel marketing and marketing strategy role. Within that, I worked at a company called Newell Brands. They're a parent company for brands like Sharpie, Calphalon, Crock-Pot. So they're just a big conglomerate and they own a bunch of different brands. What I found to be my niche, and I feel like that's kind of the general story that I definitely want to like dive into more today, is like when I found my niche in the marketing role, the niche ended up becoming I was great at design. And so for small things like, hey, we need a sales sheet for the new Sharpie S Gel launching. Taylor, can you help us design a sales sheet? Okay, I can do that. I've some graphic design background. Or even things like brochures for trade shows. Like, hey, Taylor, can you help design a brochure? Totally, I can do that. All the marketers around me didn't have this skill set, but and it technically wasn't part of my job, but it helped me stand out in the role. And it even got to the point where like I was using these design skills because I had a really keen eye for like layout and I had a really keen eye for hierarchy and just how anyone looks at any sort of visual or graphic design and interprets it and understands it, the information on the page or on the screen or whatever it is. And so it even got to the point where like I was designing PowerPoints for like sales decks, marketing decks. And I mean, people were asking me from other teams to help them. It got to the point at this 40,000 person company that I was helping the like VP of sales at one point create a deck for an awards presentation he was giving. And probably my most notable was the CEO asked me to design a PowerPoint for a board of directors meeting. So like to me, it was always
Designer before you were officially a designer. So we can't say
exactly.
you have just transformed the career. It's just the additional skill set that gave you visibility across the board.
Exactly. And it gave me visibility. People now knew my name. They knew me as a great marketer because I was great in that role and very reliable, but they also knew me as someone that like I kept getting referred to as a unicorn, like jack of all trades. Oh, she can help with this. She can also help with this. She's also very personable. Like, she can she's very authentic and she's a leader in this way. So I was able to find my like I said, my niche, like my differentiator. And that was in kind of combining a mix of skill sets together. And the thing that I love doing, that design piece, helped me like move up in my career very quickly at this company. and at Newell. And so that was like, you know, it definitely was a great time. I loved working there. And I'm glad my value is definitely seen. Now, you're probably asking, where does the UX come into play? So
I'm
this was
going
all
to ask the other
happening.
question actually, more than
Oh,
UX,
okay.
because you have been inherently a designer. My question is that do you use any of your marketing day skill set into the design work now? I understand, I got the story.
Yes.
Once born a designer, there is no way that was stopping you from coming into the career. But how do you use those marketing skills in your day-to-day operations?
Yeah, I daily. And it's not just like the marketing skills that I use. I think it is the skills that I learned being in a role like a marketing role, where I eventually became a manager and I also was leading a team and whatnot. So I, some things that I learned in the marketing role, I was working with our consumer research team to really understand or sorry, not users, consumers, and how they're going to purchase like a Mr. Coffee machine, for example. And at the end of the day, that's how does a consumer work with a product? Like, how are they like intrigued about a particular product and understanding those skill sets? That translates directly into UX. So I would say it's a mixture of like transferable skills from experience in the marketing role, of like really understanding your user consumer and the research piece of it, and bringing that into what you end up presenting, and also the aspect of communication. I would say being in a marketing role and having a lot of exposure to working with clients, or sorry, at the time, I guess it was customers, working with customers at the time, and working with a ton of other team members, I was able to bring that sort of like leadership and communication skill set into the UX role. And I also felt like that helped me stand out in my own way.
How critical do you think that being a people's person or a great communicator, well, communication is the key, of course, but being a people's
Yeah.
person is required in UX as a designer?
Yeah, I would say it's twofold. I definitely come from a place of, since I'm a director in this role, a lot of what I do is communication. But if I'm more on the individual contributor side, yes, a lot of your time is spent in Figma or like looking at analytics. But also, a lot of your time is spent talking with your product manager, talking with your engineers. If you're a UX researcher, you're talking to users. And a lot of the time spent and a lot of the most valuable piece of the job is being able to communicate cross-functionally. Because what I always tell my team, and this is very true for anyone working in a digital product, you can't like you have a product team for a reason. I can't do my job. I'm a pure UX designer. I can't do my job without a UI designer. A UI designer can't do their job without a front-end engineer. A front-end engineer can't do their job. Like everyone needs each other. And if you know how to properly pass work off, communicate to them, treat them as like collaborators in your work, that's just it's not only going to make your work better, but it's going to make the end product so much better.
I have a very serious conversation line of thought that actually is, coming up organically with the tangent that you have popped up. But I want to take the fun turn first and ask you some rapid fire questions before we go in.
Okay,
Ready?
sure.
I see you're drinking something, orangey, but tea or coffee is the question.
Tea, matcha. I'm a matcha
Matcha
girl
is
through
not
and through.
tea.
Yes, it
No,
is.
no.
It's green tea. It's green tea.
It's grass powder. Uh,
It's so good. If you learn how to make it well, it's just the best drink.
it's coming from take it from an Indian. A tea is very different by definition when it comes to drinking, but that's all right. All
Yep,
right. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Okay. Any particular type of content that you don't forget to miss? Always follow.
Content that I don't like missing. I about 6 months ago signed up for a Medium, uh, the Medium,
Uh-huh.
li
Subscription.
blanking on word. Thank you, subscription. Uh, I love it. I check it every morning.
It is a good platform, isn't it? I mean,
It
it
is.
actually comes up with so many ideas and thoughts on so many diverse topics that, it keeps things very interesting for the day.
I agree. And
Um,
it's opinion oriented too, which take it with a great
yeah, it's
it-
the individual opinion that somebody has the point of view they're trying to prove. If you want to buy it or not, it is up to you. It's just that you can always
exactly.
get that counter argument by different people on the
Exactly.
same topic. Okay, sunrise or sunsets?
Sunset.
Sunsets. The one item that you can cook as comfort food at any given point in the day.
Comfort food. I would say a nice bowl of pasta with a red sauce. Very simple.
Ah, that's a good choice. I mean,
Hmm.
with all the carbs, you can
All the
always
carbs.
get it. All right. One book that you would like to recommend.
I thought a lot about this. I would say a book that sticks with me is Bob Iger, who is what or was the CEO of Disney. He wrote a book called The Ride of a Lifetime or A Ride of a Lifetime. Amazing book. It obviously comes from the point of view of a CEO, so it's more of like a leadership forward book.
Mhm.
But I read it early on in my career and I took so much value from it. He comes at leadership. I mean, the leader of being the CEO of Disney, that is no small feat. And he approaches leadership from a very human aspect, a very authentic aspect, and a very respectful aspect. Like that's what he focuses on. And he always talks about treating the people you work with as just humans at the end of the day and collaborators. And so I think he likes to take away this idea of like having a very clear, I'm the leader, listen to what I say mentality and releases some of the kind of respect and work across the folks that work beneath him. So I love the book. It's great for anyone who's a leader at any stage of their career, but also anyone looking for like inspiration in their individual life, in their career, or even
Perfect.
outside their career.
All right. Your favorite pastime?
I love watercoloring. I don't know if this is considered a pastime or not.
Designers doing design for hobby. Yes.
Surprise, surprise.
No, you're not designing for hobby. It's the art that you are investing in because it's a different scenario altogether. All right.
Yep.
So coming from that leadership, I mean, I'm going one step back and asking you the question that we've been talking about cross-functional teams, the collaboration factor that is having a major say in things that change about people's perspective about how marketing and communication play a larger role. Now, when working with complex projects and problems, there is always, I don't think that role is vetted enough of a business analyst when it comes to handing off ideas and delivery to designers that, this is the scope and this is what you're doing. But most of the time, one-liner briefs are given, and we are asked into step into the role of that business analyst who decides the fate of the entire product line and everything, which is it can be argued that it is part of the job to understand what is needed, but most of the time it feels like an add-on responsibility.
Hmm.
What do you think that should it be part of the JD, or you would rather have somebody who can help specify those requirements first and then you can build upon it?
Yeah, I would say from my perspective, and I'm coming from a perspective where I've worked as UX designer at Home Depot, much
Mhm,
larger company, and I've worked as a UX designer at a 100-person agency, which is where I'm at right now. I would say to be a fantastic UX designer, do you need to be a business analyst? No,
mhm,
but it gives you a leg up. And if you are the type of person who, if you're a UX designer who can read data and understand at least baseline what you're looking at, then you can have stronger communications with the business analyst or data analyst, whoever you're working with. You can have those conversations better. You can ask smarter questions. What I encourage my team at Nebo, it's great to have a baseline understanding. And so I encourage them to spend time. We use Google Analytics a lot, or just like general heat mapping in Hotjar. But I encourage them to frequently review, maybe once a week, 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't take much time, but review your analytics for your product or for your website. It gives you a better, especially at the smaller company, it gives you a leg up. It helps you talk to the product better. You're understanding the user at the end of the day. That's really what it is. Now, I'm not expecting my team or any UX designer in the field to like be running reports constantly and always pulling data from them. Obviously, I think there should be from someone on a different team to help with that. But it just makes you a smarter UX designer. You can ask smarter, better questions at the end of the day.
So, as research is shrinking with the advent of AI, everything is just being shortened. People are even not bothered to read what happened in the meeting or join. They would just read the action items assigned to them in meeting summaries they get over the email. Um, the entire part of thinking on behalf of the users' ideas and problems and understanding the pain points is shrinking. And I think
Hmm.
that is where the analysis window is something that we should always keep an eye out. But as far as the complexity is concerned, if as much complexity is added to a particular product, that is when more human intervention is required and you get to build on top of it.
Okay.
How much do you think is AI coming in the way of
Mm.
that first-hand research for right product delivery?
Yeah, I would say in this new world that we are entering into, newish, I guess, with AI pretty much enveloping all we do these days. At the end of the day, our role, UX is user experience, user, human being. We as humans helping other humans have to be keen on that, no matter where efficiencies in AI take us, like we at the end of the day, like have to stay human. So in order for the product to feel human as well. There was something now when it comes to like, hey, we have a deadline, AI can help us move quicker here. That is great. I'm all for utilizing AI to create a product faster, get it out there, but iterate on it with real humans, with real people. Now, I would say something I learned a few months ago during an AI UX seminar was if you're trying to respond to human problems, try to stay away from AI. And I thought that was a really interesting phrase. I mean, it kind of goes into the point I'm trying to make is like AI can help you. I would say getting quick research is great. And obviously it's pulling from hopefully like real sources, real articles that bring in that human element. But I strongly think that you can't take research away just because, or any sort of like understanding of the human element just because AI exists and you can get a product quickly.
How about the process? Do you have you are you trying out things? Are you implementing it internally? Is it performing the way you are expecting it to, or still too early to predict or adopt?
Yeah, our teams, I would say across the board, most of us are using, ChatGPT or Gemini that's baked into our organization. We are also using, design AI like Lovable. I know some of my team members are using Figma Make as well. And I would say with those, the experience we've had so far is it spits out a good product. It's not great right now, but it's a good starting point. It's a good place to get inspiration. And that's what I talk about with my team a lot is like, it's a great place to pressure test, maybe something that you have existing. It's also a great place to get any, like I said, inspiration, but what I've seen so far is it's not there yet so that it is your end product. Like it can be your first iteration, but you should iterate on it multiple more times and not fully rely on the output as it exists today. That's today's
And
technology, but it
yeah,
could change.
we are talking about the end of 2025, so that has to be put in
Yeah,
context that anybody who is going to watch or listen to this later,
it could change.
we are just talking at when the technology is going to change tomorrow. And
Exactly.
at the same time, we are also the people who are designing applications which are AI enabled. So there is another point of view that comes from a designer's perspective, that it's how, well, so the sentence that I would form is, now we are defining how AI shows up in people's lives. And the other way of defining process is how AI shows up in designers' lives, right? If you break it down, that makes sense.
Sure.
That if you are, I hope it does. So if you put both the things into perspective, we should write the rule book rather than
Yep.
retrofit the guardrails. That
Yes.
we are just playing catch up, but we shouldn't. I think when we are designing for AI, it has to come from the fact that it is solving real people problems, hiding the technology, not make a mess of it. And in the user experience has to be kept supreme. And when we are designing by AI, we should use it just as a processor, a calculator in a math exam, not the answer paper.
Totally.
Hmm. Look at me. I have made a quotation. That will
I
go
like
into the
that.
edits and reads.
Trademark that.
Yeah, that's the pitch. That's the entire pitch for a conference talk,
It
That
could be. I mean, that's what you know, I've been talking to my team a lot about the past 6 months or so, that's probably a year or so, is someone phrased it to me this way. Think of AI as your eager intern. So
Yep,
it's,
actually was taught by Sarah from Nelson Norman Group. Sarah actually did this talk about it in UX India 24, and she actually just walked us through with the properties of the intern and the idea of the intern, and then how much reliable could it be. But I think one of the most important thing was that you wouldn't trust an intern to deliver a report or a
exactly.
to the client. You have to look and put your expert opinion in and then make sure you are making the delivery.
Exactly. It's eager. It wants to move fast. It has a few ideas for you. You get to pick which one you want, but there's always a time with an intern that you're going to need to adjust and modify their work because they're not experts, you are. And I think phrasing it in that way, like, helps me look at AI and I think the way that we should be collectively at this point.
Looking at, yeah, and I think with asking it how to design something rather than tell it how I want it to be designed, that would be a very different approach of the process and the questionnaire. And if I get like 50-page requirement documentation, I can just go in and say, okay, what the hell is happening? I don't want to read that much. But even after reading those 5 lines, that is like for quick understanding, it is fine. But I have to read those 50 pages. Otherwise,
Yeah,
there are going to be pointers which are just one sentence or one word that it has missed or forgot to mention or may not have paid much focus on. And it could make or break the product altogether.
absolutely. And something someone else said to me recently was AI should do boring work for creative people, not creative things for boring people. And I'm like, yes, like we are creatives at the end of the day. Like AI, if you use it too much in the way that like you're relying on it so heavily, it takes the creativity away a little bit. Like let it do the boring stuff. Let it get the grunt work out of the way for you to save you more time and space for the creative work.
So, this person from our sales team, I mean, we just work very closely together. Pre-sales and sales team come in for pitching for new projects and say, here is a requirement. We are sending in a proposal. Can you please share like 2 or 3 examples of something similar that we have done? Now you have to read the requirement, figure out what exactly going on, and then on the keywords basis, you would go and say, okay, here are 20 case studies or 5 case studies that I can actually refer to. And that is the job I can actually hand off very easily, just creating an internal RAG model
Yep,
to with all the case studies and detailing. And anytime somebody asks that this industry, this job, something similar is ERP, it's CRM, it's an e-commerce, whatever keywords it wishes to pick up, and then just generated, like these are similar to the domain, 5 things, take it and go.
Yeah, great. And that's saving you so much time for other
It is,
things
it is.
that, you know, become make you more valuable as an employee, leaning into those skills.
So yeah, I mean, each week you are already saving about 4 or 5 hours. It sounds ridiculous, but actually it is the truth. The more senior you become, these sort of questions you have to answer to people who are trying to bring in more business. Although everything in the repository and all this sorted, but then there are smaller technical details on which you can win or lose the project. It comes only from the fact that you have the experience and you want to point out a certain project that somebody might have missed in grand scheme of things.
Totally.
All right. So, one thing, if somebody wants to get in touch or want to see what you guys have been doing, back to your agency, which is Nebo, can you tell us what's going on there?
Sure. So Nebo Agency, we're actually an agency based in Atlanta, Georgia. I
Mhm.
just work remotely in New York, but we are an agency that it's a mixture of marketing and digital product. And so we have skill sets across the board. We work on clients across the board, across all industries. In order to get in touch with us, I would say going to neboagency.com is your best bet. Nebo, Nebo, and then agency.com. You can kind of see some of the work that we're doing and the various types of work that we do. And yeah, I mean, I would say it's a really really fantastic agency, not only to work for, but to work with. Our biggest call to action, not call to action, but we are a human-centered agency, and that's at the core of our values. We've been saying that for 20 years. Our founders have been saying that for 20 years, and especially in the
It is
world of
very
AI.
evident. It's very evident with all the conversation that we have had today.
Yeah.
And also, anybody who wants to get in touch with Taylor here, the LinkedIn is on your screen. And please like, share, follow her profile and this podcast. That is the plug. You have to subscribe this now. I need more followers, man. If you are a designer by any which chance you have landed here, please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and follow me on LinkedIn. Yay. So that is the total agenda so far. But in the end, I have one final question for you. What advice would you give to your younger self? I know that these days, one thing that has become very common is people are saying that the entry level jobs are gone. Even the ADP list mm, founder Felix has posted recently in his blog. He says that breaking into UX is not just difficult; it is almost impossible. So,
Mhm.
what's going on? And do you think that those predictions are true and how to mitigate the situation?
Yeah, I would say even in my time breaking into UX, that was about 5 years ago, wasn't easy. And I made it work. I'll speak to two things. The first is the advice that I carry with me, and I've been giving to anyone that's reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked to be me a mentor in some capacity. UX is a field that it's starting to become more prevalent in like colleges to get a degree around UX. But that hasn't always been a thing, right? You know, human-centered design, human-centered interaction, like those are types of degrees, or like even engineering, website, whatever. Those are types of degrees you get. So I feel like a lot of the UX designers in the field today have a lot of experience in other fields. And my advice is to use that as a superpower. You have experience in other fields, and even if you feel like it's not directly applicable to a UX job, it is. It always is. You can always find your superpower in your past job, whether you were a nurse, whether you're a marketer, whatever it is, like you use that as your superpower and use that as your differentiator with interviews and your portfolio and whatnot, and find that differentiator. I feel like that's, I hire people on my team, and from me, I even hired actually a newer UX designer recently, and I was looking for her differentiator. There's so many resumes that come in and they start to kind of all look the same at the end of the day. It's like, what makes you unique? What unique skill set background do you have that makes you stand out? So lean into that, whatever that may be. You could come from a different background. You could live in a different country. You could have a different job. You could have a different major, whatever it is. The traditional UX path is like, it doesn't really exist and it doesn't need to. So that's worked for me. And I would give that advice. The second part is, and people have probably said this all the time on this, is for the people today, because there's not a lot of entry level jobs, reach out to your mom, your brother, your family, and ask if they need a website for anything. Do they have a small business? They have a cake business, design a small website for them. Even if it's not something that goes live, get experience doing work with real people. I know there's, what I've seen people do is they'll like redesign Spotify or they'll redesign, YouTube or something just to like get experience doing some work, but start doing work for real people. And you start to get a little bit more experience of what that interaction would be like, and you can build your portfolio that way. So I would say building up your portfolio and getting real experience on both web and product and even like wearables, go outside, just screens. That's definitely going to become the world that we live in the future. So, yeah, two pieces of advice for my young UX designers.
To gain experience any which way. Do
Hmm.
not worry about your other experiences which might be coming in the way of you becoming successful in this career path. And formal education about UX exists just now, but most of the universities or the sellers have overhyped how cool this profession is. It is cool profession, but
It is cool. I love it. It's great. It's a cool profession.
um, it is cool, but sometimes the aspirations or assumptions are the expectations are set very high. It is hard work. Any work, any
Yeah.
job is hard, and of course, this one takes a very different level of toll on you. Look at my hair. I'm just 35. Sorry, I'm lying. I'm 42. Um, ish. So
Plus or minus 5 years.
Yeah, imagine. So that's about it. I think I had a great chat with you today, and I hope our listeners and viewers and audience and whichever platform they are coming in from, they have learned a lot. So thank you everybody for joining in. Thank you, Taylor, for being a good guest and just telling us everything about you today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
All right. And with that, this is a wrap for the first episode of season 7. Ooh. So 7
Woo!
is running. I mean, I thought I started something for fun. Now it has become a job, but that's about it. I'm not complaining. I'll get to have conversation with people like Taylor here, and that is the day we live for. Okay, guys. So thank you very much and see you guys soon. Bye.